Okay, let's dive right in. We're talking about Arcanum 13. You know the one, the Death card. It's that one card in the tarot deck that, let's be honest, makes everyone's heart skip a beat. It's just so packed with heavy symbolism, and it has this incredibly dark history, which, it turns out, leads to a ton of misunderstanding.
And hey, can you blame anyone for being scared of it? I mean, think about it. Every time you see it in a movie, the music gets all spooky, the fortune teller flips it over, and bam, it's a sign of some horrible, grisly end. It's basically become this pop culture symbol for our biggest fears about, well, dying. But what if that's not the real story? What if we've got it all wrong?
Yeah, what if this card isn't a curse at all? What if it's a key? A sign that you're actually on the brink of this huge, totally necessary, and in the end, really positive transformation? That's exactly the question we're going to dig into right now.
All right, so first things first, we have to tear down the myth. To really get what this card is about, we've got to be super clear on what it is not about. Okay, let's get this straight once and for all. The Death card is almost never about a literal physical death. Don't even go there. What it is about is transformation. It's the universe's way of saying, hey, that chapter of your life, it's over. It's time to close the book to make room for a brand new one. So this isn't about doom and gloom. Nope, it's about freedom. It's about breaking free from old habits, old ways of thinking, all the stuff that's been holding you back.
But okay, if it's so positive, why does it look so terrifying? Well, for that, we need to hop in a time machine. Because that creepy imagery, it's not just random spooky stuff. It comes directly from some major historical trauma.
So picture this. You're in 14th century Europe. The Black Plague is tearing through everything. Death isn't some abstract concept. It's literally on every street corner. That constant, grim reality just seeped into everything, especially art. So, when the tarot deck was first created around that time, the skeleton on the Death card wasn't just there to be scary. It was a picture of their everyday life. It was a reflection of the world they were living in.
And get this, in one of the very first tarot decks, the Visconti Sforza deck, Death isn't even carrying his famous scythe. Nope, he's got a bow and arrow. Why? Well, that was a powerful symbol for how the plague would just strike people down, seemingly out of nowhere, like a silent arrow. So the card's imagery was literally a mirror of what people were terrified of in the real world.
Okay, so let's jump forward to the deck most of us know and love, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Because this is where things get really interesting. Even with all its grim-looking details, if you know where to look, it's just filled with these amazing symbols of hope and rebirth, hiding in plain sight. So take a good look at the card. You've got Death on this white horse, and it's clear nobody gets a pass. The king, you know, the guy with all the power and ego, he's already dead on the ground. The bishop, who stands for old, rigid rules, is on his knees begging. The woman is just turning away, completely in denial. But then, look at the child. The child is just standing there offering flowers. They're accepting this huge, scary change with a kind of innocence and trust that the adults have totally lost. But the real magic is in the little details. Check out the flag that Death is carrying. See that flower? It's a white rose, a classic symbol of purity and new beginnings. And the horse he's riding is white too, which stands for the purity of this whole process. And way in the back, you see the sun rising between two pillars? That's the promise of a brand new day after the darkness. Even the river flowing through the scene is a symbol that life, it just keeps on going.
Okay, you ready to go a little deeper? Because this whole transformation thing gets even more fascinating when you look at the card's connection to astrology and alchemy. The Death card is linked to the sign of Scorpio, which is the sign of death, sex, and, you guessed it, rebirth.
The journey of Scorpio is honestly the perfect metaphor for what this card is all about. Think of it in 3 stages. First, it's the scorpion. That's you feeling the painful sting of a necessary ending. It hurts. Then it evolves into the serpent, shedding its old skin. That's the part where you let go. That cyclical process of release. And finally, it becomes the phoenix, rising right out of the ashes, totally renewed and with this incredible new perspective. See? It's not just an end, it's an evolution.
The alchemists actually had a name for this. They called it negritto, which means the blackening. It's the very first stage of turning base metal into gold. It's that moment where your old self, all the unrefined parts of you, the lead, has to dissolve in the dark. And yeah, it's tough, it can be painful, but it's the only way to burn off all the junk and finally get to the inner gold, your true, authentic self.
Okay,
So we've talked history, we've talked symbolism, but what does this all mean for you, when this card actually pops up in one of your readings? Well, it's basically a direct, powerful call to action. When you pull it upright, it's a massive green light. The universe is telling you, go for it, embrace this change, let that old chapter end so you can be free. But if it shows up reversed, it's more of a warning sign. It's saying, hey, you're fighting this, you're clinging to the past, and it's causing you to get stuck. It's a call to look at where you're letting fear keep you from moving forward.
Really, the ultimate message of the Death card is to practice what some people call dying daily. And no, that's not as dramatic as it sounds. It just means making a conscious choice every day to let go of what's not serving you anymore. It could be that job that's just sucking the life out of you, or a relationship that's past its expiration date, or even just a little belief in your head that says, I can't do this. The card is asking you to consciously and willingly lay those things to rest so you can make room for something new and better to grow.
So when it all comes down to it, should you be afraid of the Death card? Absolutely not. You should welcome it with open arms. It's a promise that by letting go of the person you used to be, you are finally making space to become the person you were always meant to be. It's the ultimate reminder that every single ending is just a brand new beginning in a really clever disguise.